Hello and welcome back to the Shovel Knight 80% tutorial, and today we're going to be covering the Lich Yard. But before we do, I'm obligated to talk about this. I forgot one of these little back boosts in Pridemore, so that's all there is to say! Make sure you do it if you feel like going for them. Thank you, bye. I feel like for the most part, although the Lich Yard does have some kind of difficult tricks to it, if you can get a run to the Lich Yard, you can almost guarantee that you have a run going. There's just a lot of finicky things that can throw you off in the first two stages. However, as a downside to the Lich Yard not having so many tricky tricks, the Lich Yard does have a lot of RNG. This stage introduces frog enemies, and it also has Spectre Knight himself, who, unfortunately, is completely unmanipulable. So he'll either be taking 5 seconds out of your run, or he won't. Again, this first playthrough is specifically covering a Neitherless / coin route approach. I'm assuming that you don't have the Chaos Orb or Flare Wand in this first playthrough. If you want to see some examples of ways you can use the Chaos Orb or Flare Wand in this level, that will be done in the second part of the video. Most of them are just going to be quality of life improvements. This room, for example, has a somewhat difficult, slightly taxing set of jump cancels you have to do. But once you have a better mastery of the shovel in general, it's not going to be such a huge deal that you don't have the Chaos Orb or the Flare Wand. Of course, if you really felt like bragging, there is a trick that I'm going to be explaining later on that's actually really difficult, and not anyone, to my knowledge, uses it in runs. Don't forget, frogs are actually jerks. They're the worst enemies in the game, alongside a couple of other completely random foes. Also, this is going to be the first time we're breaking checkpoints for money. If you are doing the coin route, you'll absolutely have to break this checkpoint for the 500 gold. Same goes for Flare Wand and Chaos Orb. There is also another 500 checkpoint in this stage if you felt like breaking that one instead, but most people tend to grab this checkpoint as a means of safety. The second to last room, the Darkroom, is something that a lot of runners have had trouble with. It should technically be a safe area to pass through. For the most part, you shouldn't die in this room. However, if you don't feel safe, if you feel like you've made that mistake, you're not comfortable with this room, then you can go ahead and tap that checkpoint, because a lot of this is completely blind, and until you've gotten used to the layout of the room without being able to see all of it all the time, it's not something to be ashamed of to go and grab the checkpoint. Now, for Spectre Knight himself, I walked straight into the room. However, you can do a gentle hop so that you end up on the top platform. And the only reason why it's particularly useful is if you're using the Flare Wand. Otherwise, it doesn't make much of a difference at all. And like I said before, Spectre Knight is completely random. He'll either teleport to the bottom left corner or the bottom right. If he cooperates and goes to the bottom left, you can get this quick kill. Otherwise, there is a backup, and I'll show it off so you don't lose more than 5 seconds. So first things first, this is Jeremiah. His jump is completely random, and in this footage you see me recognizing that he's going to land on me, and so I turn around and do a swing to the left so that I'm damage boosted to the right. You can get by unscathed, just count on having to react to what he does. It's not always set in stone, so you'll have to just keep an eye on him. In order to pogo up twice off the super skeleton, you'll have to be relatively into its hitbox as you do your attack, so make sure you get as close as you can. Jump and swing at the same time with a short hop, and then start pogoing immediately. You should be able to bounce off of it without taking damage. Now in this room there's a frog boost that you can do, where you wake up the frog and then pogo off of it to reach the second floor. In order for this to work, you have to run into it and take damage, and then while you're invincible from having taken damage, you'll wake it up with a shovel swing, and then jump, and you'll hit down to pogo off of it after jumping. You're specifically waiting to start your pogo after you know you've reached a height where pogoing will get you up to the second floor. Once more at full speed, run to the frog, wake it up, and then delayed pogo. Now if you have the Chaos Orb, instead you can wake it up like this. 2 short hops and a fired Chaos Orb allows you to do the same trick without taking damage. One more version of this trick for tryhards. It's actually a damageless version without the orb. Applesauc made this neat little visual cue for me to look at to know where you should be jumping. So when you reach the top of the ladder, walk to the left, and then when Shovel Knight's horn reaches this brick in the wall, you'll be doing a full jump. Again, you're walking off the top of the ladder, waiting for Shovel Knight's horn to line up with the brick in the wall, bonk it to the ceiling, swing on the way down, delay pogo on the way up, and you should just barely make it. This is extremely difficult, but it's faster than taking a damage boost. While you normally hold down right in this room if you don't have any projectiles, so long as you have the Chaos Orbs, you can fire 2 of them to clear out the enemies for more money. Again, what you see is what you get with this trick. You're coming down with a shovel swing, and then you're immediately jump canceling it with another shovel swing. This is kind of difficult to do, but once you get the rhythm of doing so, you'll be able to do a light jump, so you don't jump into the spikes and clear the frog out of your way. However, if you have a Chaos Orb, you can simply fire 1 of them, and it'll immediately clear out the frog for you. Now, if you really want to be a tryhard, you can go for this strat. Nobody does this in runs. In order to do this cursed Dark Beetle skip, you'll have to start by doing 3 short hops once you reach the top of the ladder, followed by 2 full jumps. After the second full jump, you'll be approximately over/behind the Beetle. Try to make sure that you're landing behind it with enough room to turn around. Swing at it to start the juggle, then step forward a little bit, start another juggle, step forward 1 more time without running into the spikes. You'll juggle on the ground and then do a short hop and juggle again. Then you'll jump over the pit with a swing on your way up. Make sure you juggle the Beetle before it lands, and then you'll have to do a delayed pogo once again, just so that you have the height and the proximity to make it up onto this ledge. It's really, really dumb and it barely saves a second, so, go for it at your own risk. Provided that the frogs are cooperative, the quickest way to get through this room is like this. As soon as you land, do a full jump, turn around, 2 smacks on the way up with a short hop, and just a bunch of short hop swings with 1 juggle per swing should get it to land right here on this platform. I like to swing at this frog just in case he decides to be cheeky, but if a frog really wants to get in the way of your speedrun, you won't be able to stop it. Before you decide to jump and pogo the skeleton, wait for it to raise its sword, and if you're positioned properly, you'll only bounce once off the dinner plate. After breaking the checkpoint, make sure you take the lower route. You'll be pogoing off this skeleton sooner, which means he'll be landing here and dragging the platform down sooner. Take a damage boost, and you shouldn't get stuck on the overhanging ledge. Now, if you have Chaos Orbs, instead you can take the top route, and you won't lose any time at all, and you won't have to take damage either. Just fire 2 of them, and it'll clear out the haunch bro. And in the next room, you can use a Chaos Orb to get this ghost out of your way so it's not going to deal damage to you. If you don't have the Chaos Orb, then you have to go for a slightly different trick. Jumping from the rightmost side of this platform, you'll be able to swing your shovel at the top of your jump so that you won't be recovering from the shovel swing animation as you land on the platform, which would slow you down just a little bit. In the last Darkroom, as the frog jumps to you, you'll want to try and take a damage boost no matter what, whether you think he'll land on you or not. This means that you can ignore the second frog entirely, and you shouldn't be knocked into any pits as a result. If you mess up, this money isn't going to be worth it. Make sure you catch this platform cycle. You'll be jumping in the dark for these last couple jumps. Just, again, practice this section. You should be able to do it no problem. You'll have to slow down just a little bit to make sure you don't slip off. But if you have the Chaos Orbs, then you can just fire 1 as you're jumping over the skeleton so you don't have to slow down at all. Now for the Spectre Fight, once you have control of Shovel Knight, you'll want to jump to the left and try and get up on top of the platform as quickly as possible. Send him back to the right side, turn around, and then take damage to fall into the left corner. The rhythm for these quick attacks is to swing before you land, jump, and then swing on the way up. So it's swing, jump, swing, swing, jump, swing, swing, jump, swing. Pogo for a 7th hit before he disappears. Get up on the first platform, and this time be prepared to pin him to the left corner. Wait for him to pass you by, then swing twice to keep him in the left corner, then swing twice more before he disappears. If you're lucky, Spectre will be in the bottom left corner, and you can finish the fight with 8 more swings. If you're less lucky, then Spectre will teleport to the right corner instead. Don't go after him, just get back in position to finish the fight. When he reappears, swing twice, then wait a moment and get into position to juggle him the last 6 hits. Be careful on these last 2 hits, he might be very high up. Now if you have the Flare Wand, instead you'll be starting the fight by entering the room with a gentle hop. This is so that you can get up onto this platform before the fight begins. The big difference here is that at the start of the fight you're going to fire 4 Flare Wand shots, and this will keep him pinned to the right while doing some extra damage. The rest of the fight's the same. Chaos Orb runners will have to wait to tack on their damage at this point, after juggling him twice into the left corner. It takes a full heart out of the fight for you. Chaos Orb runners also get a little bit of bad luck protection. they can still fire those 2 shots and they'll still hit Spectre on the other side. Then you'll only have 4 hits to finish. So here's your Spectre Fight at full speed. Just get the general gist of it and make sure you know how to execute the thing, regardless of which route you're using. Jump up and send him to the right. Prepare to take a damage boost. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pogo. Wait for him to make it past you. 2 swings to keep him on the left, 2 more on the way out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now for the dream sequence, the fastest thing that you can do here is to die as soon as possible. When a skeleton raises its arm up, it'll deal a full heart of damage to you when you run into it. Skeleton behavior is basically random, but it is manipulable. The way I like to try and manipulate them is by jumping frequently and then making an approach to them every now and then. I wait for the first one to start approaching me, and then I start jumping towards it. After a skeleton has backed up, usually it'll raise its sword up on the way back in. Try to position yourself so that the last hit knocks you under Shield Knight, because yes, you can catch Shield Knight despite being quote-unquote dead, and it does save you a fraction of more time. This is also where you would get a meal ticket if you felt like getting more health upgrades. This is the time to do so. Go back to the town and get your extra health then. Turning music sheets into the Bard gives you 500 gold, and it's only 1,000 for the first meal ticket from the Gotician. After clearing the Lich Yard, you'll have access to World 2, and we'll be heading straight to the Lost City for our next episode. Till next time, thanks for watching.